So what is fitrah? Fitrah, you can define it in many different ways and angles. Okay, I will give a definition which is more of a practical definition. Fitrah is a natural element which is embedded naturally as soon as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates the soul by default. So as soon as Allah creates a soul, by default that fitrah is embedded. It embeds the general knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and any other knowledge that that particular creation needs to fulfill its role and responsibility. Be it general or be it specific. So it embeds knowledge. Okay? It doesn't embed belief. Remember, I didn't say belief. I said embeds what? Knowledge. Yeah. Of Allah and anything that creation needs to know to fulfill its what? Role and responsibilities. Okay? So for example, the fitrah of the ant will be different from the fitrah of a lion, exactly. Is that clear? Why are they different? Roles are different and responsibilities are different. Is that clear? In essence, they'll be same and similar, but in specifics, they'll be different. Is that clear? Same with the fitrah of the angels is different from the fitrah of the jinns. Is that clear? Fitrah of the humans is different from the fitrah of the jinns, for example. Even though in essence, when it comes to the first layer of us and the whole creation with Allah is all what? Same. So the reason I didn't say belief, because fitrah in of itself doesn't necessitate belief with consciousness. Fitrah in of itself doesn't necessitate belief with what? Consciousness. You then affirm consciously and you make it into belief. So what does the fitrah do then? Practically, what does it do? Once we have that embedded within our souls, what does it do practically? What it does is following. What it does are the following. Firstly, you have this knowledge. So you have this knowledge of that thing, be it Allah as a supreme being. So first thing is you know. Second, it directs you to know more. It encourages you, it pushes you, it drives you, it motivates you. Is that clear? That's all within the knowledge itself. So first is knowledge, ma'rifah. Second, facilitates. Yes, first is ma'rifah, second is facilitates. It facilitates. It facilitates the truth. It facilitates realities. It facilitates facts. Third, it seeks perfection and beauty. So I reflected and I looked at the hadith of the fitrah, and Sallallahu describes one or the other when it comes to the fitrah descriptions. Yeah? So describes, for example, in this hadith, what is he describing from the fitrah of the three? first hadith. Read the first hadith.
The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, every child is born upon the Fitrah, a righteous disposition and inclination to Allah.
That's explanation, but what Sallallahu is saying.
Just the hadith, yeah?
Yeah.
But his parents convert him to Judaism or to Christianity.
Okay. And his parents. So here, what is Sallallahu when he's describing the Fitrah, what part of the Fitrah is he describing? Is that question clear? I gave you the answers. I gave you Fitrah embeds ma'rifah, embeds facilitation, embeds completion and perfection and beauty. Yeah? So here in this hadith, which one is Sallallahu talking about? I gave you the answer. I said ma'rifah. Also facilitation, but more than that is ma'rifah. But how did I come to that conclusion? Or how can you come to that conclusion? What is the process? Sallallahu said, every child is born upon the fitrah. Yeah? And then he says, their parents make them a Jew. A Jew is first and foremost is someone who believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrong. Yeah? Then wrong in where? The message. Then wrong in where? The messenger. Is that clear? That's why he becomes what? A Jew. So he's gone wrong first and foremost where? Ma'rifah, knowledge of who? Allah himself. Is that clear, Shabazz? Is that clear? So the Jew has gone wrong where first? Knowledge of Allah. Then knowledge of the messengers, or the knowledge of the message and the messengers. Is that clear? So here Sallallahu is concentrating more on Tawheed than anything else. Because you know Allah naturally. So the parents have made them a Jew. I mean, the parents have made them go against what was already embedded in the fitrah about who? What? Allah Jalla wa Ala. The parents make him a Christian. The parents make the child into a what? Fire worshipper. So it's a knowledge that the child already had. The parents then give him another knowledge which goes against what he already had about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost.
But how is that a child's fault?
We're not talking about a child's fault here. What we're trying to say is, what does the fitrah embed? What it embeds first and foremost is what? Knowledge. Of who? Allah Jalla wa Ala. General knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is that clear? And general knowledge of realities. It embeds general knowledge of realities. No general, just monotheism. Allah is one. There's a supreme being. Can you get perfection from this hadith also? Huh?
Gives the example of the animal.
Yeah, right at the end Sallallahu gives an example. Yeah? So you can get that the fitrah embeds perfection. From the hadith also you can get the three matters of that we just spoke about, the three elements. Ma'rifah, facilitation and perfection. Like the sunan of fitrah, washing the mouth, rinsing the nose, having showers, these are all from what? This is to do with what? Completion, perfection and beautification. The next point I wanted to make is, fitrah does not necessitate belief, it only facilitates. This is a key word here. Fitrah does not necessitate belief, it only facilitates. And Allah rewards, or the reward is left in the utilization of the facility. So the reward is left where? Where is the reward left? So utilize it. Utilize that and then you believe. And then you believe. That's where the reward is left. Is that clear? Now, fitrah doesn't necessitate what? Belief. It only what? facilitates it, where is the reward left of Jannah? Or not being punished? Where is it left? Amran?
Facilitation.
What, just the facilitation?
The utilization.
Utilization of the facility. Utilize it. And then you what? Believe. And then you believe. Is that clear?
English, we are the facility.
Huh?
Utilization of the facility.
The fitrah facilitates for you to believe. It doesn't embed by default belief. It just facilitates. So then you take the means and then what do? You believe. In that belief is the reward. One of the word I missed in facilitation is initiation. If you go back to the ma'rifah, knowledge, and the facility, one of the words I missed is initiation. Within the facility, it initiates. The fitrah initiates. The first stage of that facility and initiation and acceptance of the belief is called what? What is it called? Hanif. Hanif. So it's called fitrah. First it's called fitrah, the knowledge. Soon as you take the initiation, soon as you take the means, and then you believe, it's called what? Hanif. You have become Hanif. Why? Because there is no kufr and shirk that took place between the initial fitrah and the result of that initial facilitation. There was no kufr or shirk that took place whatsoever. Hanif means pure. Hanif means what? Pure Tawheed. Is that clear, brothers? That's why Ibrahim a.s. was called what? Imam of Hunafa. All the prophets, they were Hanif, and he was the Imam of Hunafa. Why? Because he attained by the fitrah's facility or facilitation, he attained very, very early on by himself. He attained very early on by himself as a child.
How did he attain it? Did he have to work for it, or was it just a gift from Allah?
No, obviously he had to work for it. Obviously he had to work for it. He thought about it in his mind, thought about the creation, thought about everything around him, and he attained it. So did all the prophets. But everyone attained it in different what? In different what? Yeah, lengths of time. Some attained when they were 8, some attained when they were 7, some attained when they were 12, some attained when they were 13. They attained it. But yeah, before they became what? Prophets. Ibrahim attained it very, very early on. And that's why he's called Imam of Hunafa. Understanding this is very important. Because then one consciously wants to make themselves Hanif, first and foremost. And also with their children or nephews and nieces, one consciously wants to make them Hanif. So you don't say Allah is one and we worship Allah. You don't say that to them. Don't teach them like that. You teach them, why is Allah one? Do you see? See, it changes. Because you want them to what? Attain it. Not you just giving them the what?
The knowledge.
The ma'rifah, the knowledge. Because they already know that. They already know that. You want them to attain it. So you give them questions or you give them phrases or paragraphs or scenarios by which they themselves attain that conclusion and then believe. And then affirm. And then they have that love. And then they have that hope. And then they have that exaltation. See, then that child now has belief, has iman in Allah and iman in His tawheed and iman to worship and glorify and be grateful and ask Him Jalla wa Ala before he asks or she asks their parents. And this is one thing we miss. SubhanAllah, in our Muslim families, we miss this completely. that the child is yearning to bond with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we only make them bond with who? With who? With who, brothers? Parents. The child is yearning to bond with who? With Allah Jalla wa Ala, but we only, ultimate bonding we make them bond with is who? Parents. So all they see for 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, 13 years, 14 years, the ultimate bonding is with the parents. The ultimate gaining is with parents. The ultimate even punishment is with parents, and discipline is with parents. That's all they see. And suddenly, life then comes to them and hits them, and they see Allah in the picture now. Why? Because now Allah is taking them into account. Allah is putting them into trials. Allah is then rewarding them. Allah maybe even punishing them. And they can't then face it. They don't know who to go to. They don't know who to run to. Yeah? Then out of desperation, they begin to bond with Allah, who they never before consciously bonded. If they did, it was subconscious. If I ask you, can you remember the first time you bonded with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you were a child? Can you remember? But if I ask you, can you remember the first time you proper bonded with your parent? I can make sure, you can guarantee you can remember you bonded this time with your mom. I can remember when I bonded with my mom when I was 3 years old. I can still remember I ran. She was lying down on the bandage in her room on the floor. It was very hot, and I was in another place. And an incident happened. I ran and straight to my mom's arms at the age of 3. I can still remember it. It was a conscious bonding. That I feared something. I went and tucked myself inside the arm of my mother. Yeah? But can you remember when you first consciously bonded with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you were a child? You can remember. Very good. That's very good. See, that bonding you can always refer back to. Anytime you go through difficulties and challenges in your life, you can always refer back to that first bonding when you had with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's very important, it's very powerful, it's very profound. So this we need to embed within our children very early on. Very early on. That ultimate protector of you is Allah. Tawakkul. The ultimate giver of everything is Allah. Gratitude. The ultimate being whom will love you and take care of you is Allah. That's exaltation. The ultimate being who will take you into account whether we see or we do not see is Allah. That's fear. Yeah? And the Messenger of Allah ﷺ is to concentrate with the youth that aspect of Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is to concentrate with the youth a lot. Because if they bond with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when they are a child, they are innocent. On top of that they have the Fitrah, and then you embed within them the belief and Iman and Tawheed conscious one, which they themselves attain, then this is unshakable, this is unbreakable also. Yeah, again, we should do research on these matters when we become more well established, is to see people like that brother said, are born in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a child, to take these people and to see their lives and then ask them when they're 40 or 50 or whatever the age, and ask them about their life experiences and see those people who born with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when they were a child, did they completely fall off al-Islam? or Tawheed, or completely fall off doing khair for Islam, khair for the Muslims, khair for the humanity. And this is the research that needs to be done. So we really need to work on our children, on our nephews and nieces in regards to the fitrah and embedding them the conscious tawheed and the conscious iman and the solidification of that whilst they are young. But the fitrah is it's like a natural ability for you as a being to survive and live in this earth. Is that clear? A natural ability for you to survive and live in this earth. It's natural ability. And it's the facilitation to attain capability for you to survive and live. Yeah, natural facilitation for you to survive and live. Is that clear? So for example, the fitrah naturally tells the child to breastfeed. Yeah? It naturally tells the child to breastfeed. That's the fitrah telling it. So in that sense it's decreed. In that sense it's decreed because it's there for you to survive and what? Live. It's there for you to survive and live. Is that clear, sister? It's the natural ability. Any other questions? I'll give you an example. When you want to drink water, the actual drinking of water, you go out there to drink water. You don't put it in your ear. You put it in your mouth. That is with what? It's natural ability. It's given already in you. Yeah? When you want to see something, you don't close your eyes and say, oh, I know, I want to see. You open your eyes and you want to see. Yeah? These are all natural. It's embedded already. These are fitri.